You know, it really surprises me that whenever I bring up this game to anybody, nobody even realizes it exists. It's incredible to me because I think it's one of the best games in the PS2's extensive library, and it happens to be one of my personal favourites. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing? Well, my name's Lick. And I know the retro and just normal review thing on YouTube's overdone. JonTron, Cad Icarus, Pro Jared, AVGN, just to name a few. This is nothing original and unique, it's just my own spin on things. And it's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. I plan to make it a, short hobby of mine. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's move back to the game. Maximo, or if you're from America, Maximo Goes to Glory. Jesus, my American accent is awful. Is a hack and slash platformer for the PlayStation 2. It was released as early as December 2001 in Japan, but for us people in the UK, we had to wait until March of the following year to get our greasy tea drinking paws on it. The game was actually pretty well received and was developed by Capcom, the same people that brought us great games like Street Fighter and Resident Evil.
Not this Resident Evil though, no. We don't talk about the dark times.
I always remember this game being too hard for me to beat as a kid. I just get too frustrated or wasn't a good enough gamer to even complete it. And apparently that wasn't just my point of view. This game's ranked number 6 on IGN's hardest PS2 games of all time. No joke. But anyway, enough backstory. Let's actually start playing the game. The game isn't actually in here, it's already in the PS2. Okay, before we even actually get into the story, I have to talk about the way you select things in the menu of this game. How fucking badass was that? I mean, come on, you literally split a tombstone in half to adjust the sound options in this game. And just look how easily he slices it in half. It's like a knife through butter, that. Also, the music and the visuals here really set the tone for the game that's ahead of you, and I really appreciate things like this. It's like they actually tried to make the menu interesting, rather than just put an arrow in the options, new game, low game, bleh. Anyway, let's start a new game.
Sophia!
Maximo! Achille, you told me Maximo...
Silence!
So you're this guy, Maximo. You've just returned from some big old scary war, and this fat guy over here, Achille, has taken over your kingdom, but he's also stolen your girlfriend and her voluptuous personality. Somehow he's gained control of the underworld while you were gone, and with one cast of his lightning bolt, you die. Yep. The gallant hero of this story is killed within 30 seconds of the opening cutscene. But all is not lost, because when you die, you happen to meet the Grim Reaper, who is just charming, may I add. He explains to you that Achille is using some sort of drill to free spirits of the dead and raise them for his army. Death strikes a deal with Maximo and gives him a death coin, more on this later, and then he sends him on his journey to defeat Achille by finding the Sorceress's Council. Woo! Hot diggity damn! Only 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the video, we finally get to see a little bit of gameplay.
Now that's what I like to call a quality content.
Alright, the first thing I can say about this game is that control-wise it handles great. It's responsive, tight, and feels smooth as a baby's bottom. This is how a 3D platformer's controls should feel in my opinion, and at no point in this game do I feel like I was cheated because of bad controls. This is a good thing. The first level gives you a real taste of what you're getting yourself into and introduces you to the combat system and the platforming pretty damn well. Throw some puzzles in and a cool double jump downward stab maneuver onto a bit of grass to activate a checkpoint, and we have a recipe for a fantastic opening level. Also, just a quick note, at the end of every level, after you fight a little army of undead and slice down this magic dildo thing, you're given your stats for the level. It's a nice little touch for the completionists out there who want 100% this game. Now, once you get through the first level, you aren't just thrown into another one. This game uses the overworld system, and in each overworld there are 4 levels to get through before you can access the boss of that world. And they're all different styles and themes. You got Graveyard World, Spooky Swampland, Eerie Frozen Pirate Place, Hell. Yes, you actually go to Hell in this game. And perhaps the scariest of all, the real world. These worlds are all charming in their own way, and I love how the enemies in the game change depending on the world that you're currently progressing through. You aren't just fighting the same old skeleton that you killed in level 1 for the rest of the game. Also, the difficulty curve of the game is incredibly good. Don't get me wrong, this game is pretty tricky from the get-go. You'll find yourself really appreciating those extra lives you pick up, because you're definitely going to need them, especially in the later levels where the enemies get tougher and the platforming gets less forgiving. But going back to the enemies in this game, can I just say how incredibly charming and entertaining they are? I mean, look at them, some of them are almost cute. One of my favourites are these guard skeletons. They walk back and forth in a straight line and repeat.
Up. Up, 2, 3. Up, 2, 3. Up, 2, 3. Up, 2, 3. Up.
It really adds personality to the enemies you're fighting and makes the experience way more immersive for the player. Anyways, you've battled through the first 5 levels of the game and you've unlocked your first boss. You fight past the guards and step into the elevator to meet him. And to be honest, he looks fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry, but I couldn't help but laugh when I recorded this boss fight for the video. Just look at how goofy he is. And look at his name, Ghastly Gus. What's he going to do, fart all over me? To be honest, all the bosses in this game look a little, well, odd. But this guy takes the cake. I mean, how can you get any...
Come get some!
Oh, by the way, did I mention that when you take too much damage in this game, you end up running around in nothing but your underwear until you find more armor? No? Well, now seems like a good time. Basically, the health system of this game works like this. You have a bar of health. As you take damage, the bar decreases. You can replenish the bar with potions, but you can also gain more bars of health by finding armor around the game. My favourite part of this system is that as you lose or gain armor, your character changes. At 4 and 3, you've got the Spartan helmet and look like a god ready to do battle. At 2, you're pretty covered and you have your long brown hair dangling just in case any ladies are in the area. And at 1, you look like a complete idiot running around in just a pair of boxers. Oh, and by the way, did you know that you could get different pairs of boxers in this game? They cost coins and give no status effects whatsoever, but you can get them. Anyway, you figure out how to kill old farty Gus, and when you do, you are greeted by a lady friend. Yes, this is one of the Sorceress' Council that Def told you earlier to find. She offers you a choice of 3 gifts for freeing her. Armor, a save, yes, a save, more on this soon, and a kiss. Now we already went over what the armor does, and the save is pretty obvious. But what does the kiss do? Well, that's just it. At the time you're playing, you have no idea. But if you read the manual... Hey! Who remembers when games had manuals? No one? Okay. You'll see it says, if you finish the game with all 4 Sorcerer's Kisses, you will win a special reward. Spoiler alert, it's a gallery. And though nice, isn't worth it, because those kisses take up lock spots, and you fucking need those for abilities to help you through the game. And yes, more on this later. So you choose your reward and you're sent off to the next part of the game. This is pretty much how every boss fight goes apart from one. Once you beat old Long John Dick over here, there's a small cutscene where you are killed by Grimm and sent to hell. This is so that you can save the next sorceress, as Achille killed her before we could get to her. And can we just take a short moment to pause and talk about how badass Maximo is? The man literally just came back from fighting a war, gets killed, comes back from the dead, fights countless undead, and travels through treacherous lands just to get killed again, to fight through hell, yes, hell, to then come back to kick this fat bastard off his own throne and take his woman back. I mean, seriously. The size of this guy's plums are off the scale. Anyway, talking about dying, let's talk about the life system, how you're going to lose so many because of the difficulty of this game. So you have hearts. You start with 5 and you can find them around the game. Basically, they're 1-ups. Oh, and by the way, the sound Maximo makes when he picks up an extra life is everything to me. Honestly, I wish this sound played when I did anything. But what happens when you run out of lives? Well, remember that coin old Grimmy gave you earlier? Well, if you have one of those knocking around, then you're fine. He will gladly trade a coin to bring you back. But if you don't, then it's game over, buddy. And you have to start back at your last save, which isn't as hunky-dory as it sounds. But I'll talk about that later. Oh, and by the way, this cost increases every time you do it, so you really can't just keep dying in this game. And these death coins aren't commonly found. Sometimes you find them in secret locations found through dangerously exploring the limits of the game's stages. But the most efficient way of getting them is collecting souls. Souls can be found throughout all stages of the game. They look like little blue balls and are usually hidden inside breakable objects. For example, in the first level you have to break open tombstones to get them, and in the pirate level, hey, ho, ho. Oh, I love it! You get them out of chunky pirate snowmen. Get 100 of these bad boys and you'll get a death coin. But beware, there is an enemy in this game that is going to make your life hell when collecting these souls. Anyone who's played the game knows exactly what I'm talking about, and how annoying and slippery he is. The fucking ghost. This guy lives in trees and certain objects in the games, and only comes out when you go near him. Sometimes he appears in front of you, sometimes he appears behind you, but when he flies through you, tons of your souls spill out and you're left running around and jumping like an idiot to try and get your souls back before they disappear. And by the time you finish collecting them, he's come back and hit you again. This is easily my most hated enemy in this game, and so help me God, I can never hit this guy with the first swing. I'm always left jumping around after, swinging madly trying to kill him, before he takes away all my souls and my pride of being a semi-decent gamer. This guy can go die in a fire. Honestly, I hate him. A lot. Now before, you probably remember me mentioning that this game has overworlds, and inside the overworld you can access levels. But these overworlds aren't just a carbon copy of Crash Bandicoot 3's Jump into Portals overworlds. These areas are levels all by themselves. There are coins to collect. Oh, by the way, you don't collect coins in this game. You collect coins. How fucking original, Capcom. Anyway, there are coins to collect, secrets to find, chests to open, and enemies scattered everywhere. Also, the boss of that area is found in the middle of the overworld, and you know from the start that's where you're heading, and in a way it motivates you to keep on going to unlock that sweet, sweet boss battle. But the boss area isn't the most important part of the overworld. The most important part of these areas are known as magic pools. Seriously, that's the name. Look, it's right there in the manual. Anyway, shit names aside, these magic pools are incredibly important and a big reason to why most people say this game is incredibly difficult and even unfair. But to be honest, it's one of my favourite things about the game. The only way you can save your game is either killing a boss, like we covered before, or spending 100 of your hard-earned coins on these pools.
That's right, Milano. If you want the privilege to be able to save your game and turn your PlayStation off, you're going to have to pay the tax man.
I love this mechanic. It makes you actually think about when you should save your game and doesn't just hand the option to you on a plate. Not only do you have to plan out your saves, but it makes you want to collect as many coins as possible. Yes, the game doesn't force you, but it makes it a lot easier if you do, as coins aren't only used for saving. They're used for purchasing items which can be incredibly helpful while playing the game. They can be anything from an extra piece of armor to cheese that you rub on your feet so the skeletons don't grab your feet when you walk across that nasty ground. Also, just a side note, there are hidden chests all around this game, and the only way to make them appear is to jump just above them. This leads you to randomly jumping around like an idiot through most of the stages if you want to actually find all the secrets and 100% this game. I like to think the developers did this on purpose, just so they could imagine 1,000 of spotty teenagers screaming at their televisions while jumping around and listening to Maximo say, "Huh," 1,000 times. If you haven't already noticed, there's a big theme to this game, and it is everything matters. Every single resource is precious, and doesn't just exist to give the player something to do. No, you don't collect meaningless things just because the game tells you to. Everything you are picking up has an important place. You need coins to save your game and purchase items that you need to be able to beat the game. You need armor and health to stay alive long enough to use the coins you've collected to save the game before you die on the boss battles. But luckily, you've been collecting extra lives. You knew this would happen, and thankfully you've been collecting enough souls to have enough death coins to trade to Grim for you to keep respawning so you can keep on trying to beat the boss. Oh no, wait a minute, you haven't, because the fucking ghost has penetrated you 427 times and taken all your souls and you can't fucking kill it. The point is, nothing feels worthless in this game. You never find yourself sitting there and asking yourself the question, why am I even collecting these? Because everything matters in this game. Now at this point you're probably sitting there thinking, wow, Lick, this game sounds great. There's so much depth and so much to offer. There can't be anything more to this, right? Well, my little friend, you'd be wrong there. There is one more huge system to this game that I have to talk about, and to be honest, it really holds the game together, and that is the power-ups. This game has tons of them. You see, you start off the game with a basic sword and a basic shield, and your normal attacks. But with the power-ups you collect throughout the game, you can basically become a god as long as you don't die. First of all, let's talk about the sword. There are no new swords that you can pick up in the game, but there are numerous power-ups that you can add to your sword. Everything from fire to ice. These power-ups give you different abilities, and combined with other power-ups you can find from Maximo himself, you can make awesome combos like shooting fireballs from your sword to take out those tricky ranged enemies. Oh shit. I forgot about the wizards. Okay, I take everything I said about the ghost back. This guy is a complete and utter asshead. Not only does this cowardly fuck hide in a chest until you come close enough for him to zap at you, but when he does hit you with the almost undodgeable bolts, he either turns you into an old man version of yourself or a baby version. And guess what? You can't do anything while you're in these versions, leaving him and any other enemies around you open to murder you in those 4 stacks of armor you've built up. Seriously, I fucking love this game. But fuck this guy. Anyway, moving on to your shield, it sort of has a health bar. The more you use it, the more damage it takes, and eventually it'll break and you'll lose it. But you can buy better shields throughout the game. The best being the gold shield. It has 20 points of durability and looks sexier than my pink PS2. But you can also pick up power-ups from Maximo himself, new attack combos, shield throwing abilities, and little perks that will get you by, like having your shield be able to magnetize and suck in coins and goodies. The only problem is, when you die, all these abilities are lost unless you place them in the ability slots that are locked. But, if you want the special gallery bonus, you have to place the kisses in these lock spots, and you can only keep a couple of the special abilities. This is why I highly recommend just getting the armor or the save off the princess. Some of the perks and abilities you find are so strong, you feel handicapped playing the game without them, and there's nothing more painful than messing up a jump by accident and losing all your abilities and only being left with a fucking kiss. Honestly, I could go on and on about this game, but this video needs to end. Maximo is an incredible game and a fantastic experience on the PS2. The level design is quirky and likeable, the enemies are unique and rememberable, the visuals are stylish and for the time pretty damn good. The bosses are tough yet fair, the difficulty of the game scales with your progress so you never feel overpowered, even when you go back to previous stages to collect items that you may have missed or purchase perks you previously didn't have enough coins for. The story is a classic tale of a hero saving a princess with a wicked twist that I won't spoil for you, as the ending boss fight to this game is epic, and very difficult even to this day. And the music, don't even get me started on the music in this game. Oh, it's so good! You know, I love Maximo. And I guess a lot of other people do too, because the game got a sequel. Sadly, I don't actually have a working copy at the moment. My disc's all scratched up. But maybe one day I'll get one, and I'll cover that game too. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you have any feedback, feel free to leave it down in the comments below. I appreciate it. And hell, subscribe. There'll be more content coming your way. Take care, guys.